Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another round of computer science. We are going to study the all important concept of subclassing. Now, subclassing is something you have hopefully seen before, but it's so important. Let's review it and we'll work through an example and hopefully it will make sense to you. So, what the example that I kind of thought of today would be, what if we had a database of contact information, like one in your phone, but we wanted to keep it organized based on what kind of contact they were. So I'm going to make a base class, okay, and I'm just going to describe everything in terms of the methods. So we're not going to talk about the variables yet, and I don't want to jump straight to the code. Instead, what I want to do is kind of just go through the concept first, and then hopefully that's going to make the code a lot easier, right? Okay, so we've got a class that I want to call contact. Okay, so this is the contact class, and I'll do the constructor in purple. So how should our constructor look like? Well, I think our constructor needs to take in their name. Oh, but what is the name? That's going to be a string, right? So string name. It's going to take in I need a little bit more room here. Let's see if we can't move this over. There we go. There we go. Now I got space to write. Okay, so we've got we're going to take in a name, and I think we really need a phone number as well. So the phone number we'll take it as an int. Call that the number. Okay. And I don't think we need like an email address or an address, a physical address. So we'll leave those as methods that we can use to set. All right, so, but at a minimum, when you make a contact, you definitely need a name and a number because you got a text message from a number or they called you and there's the number and you add it to your contacts. All right, I'll do the methods in red. So what methods are we going to have? Well, definitely we want to be able to get their name, right? We want to be able to get their name. And what would get name return? Well, it's going to return a string. Let's start with that. So we're going to have a method that returns a string called get name. And we also got to have one that returns a phone number. But I'm going to make it a formatted phone number, okay? So I'm going to call this get formatted phone number. And that's going to give us an opportunity to talk about processing through numbers and getting digits. And that is so important. So we'll have a little mini lesson inside this lesson. And I would like to be able to set their email and their address. So I'm going to make those void. So void, let's say set email, or maybe add an email. We could set, and let's do set address. Set email. Those are parentheses there. And likewise, we'll need to be able to get them as well. So let me just enlarge this one more time here. Yeah, so just a couple more methods here. So the email, that's going to be a string. Get email. And the address, that'll be a string as well. You know what though? I need to fix one thing. When you set the address and you set the email, you need to have parameters in there, don't we? So we'll do that as well. So we're going to set the email with the string, and I'll just call it E for email, and the address with the string A for address. Okay, so we've got the ability to create a contact, and then we can set their email, set their address. We can get their email, get their address, get their name, and get a nice formatted phone number for them. So what is a special kind of contact? Well, one special kind of contact would be a business contact. So I'm going to make that subclass, and hopefully I made it big enough this time. And the way that I show that it's subclass is I just draw an arrow pointing at the contact. So this is going to be a business contact. And what additional information would a business contact have? Well, a business contact is going to have a company, right? So we need to take in a constructor. So I'll take in, I'll call this business contact. It's going to have a string name and an int number. So just like before, we're taking a string and a number, but I want to be able to set their company that they work for. I want to be able to set their position at that company. And those would be void. I just didn't want to waste time writing it. And hold on, we need to put in the parameters that they would have though. So set position, that's going to take a string position. And then set company will take in a string for the company. Likewise, we're going to make the ability to get the company, and that'll return a string. And I also want to be able to get the position. And that'll return a string as well. Okay, let's make one more class now. This class will subclass contact as well. And this one is going to be a friend contact. And what special things do a friend contact need? Again, I want to have that same constructor from before. Where we take in their name as a string. And their phone number. I'll just say num this time. But what methods would our friend class have? Well, I want to be able to set their birthday. Again, that's going to be a void. Set birthday, because I need to know my friend's birthday. And that'll be a string month, int day, and an int year. Well, we don't need to have, well, yeah, we should put the year that they're, no. Let's just do their birth date. We don't need to talk about how old people are, right? Okay, and then of course we need to get that as well, and so it's going to return a formatted string where we get their birthday. Okay, so I think that's going to be a pretty good start for us. Let's do the code now. Okay, so I want you to open up BlueJ and make a project called contacts, lowercase for the project name though, please. So we'll call this one contacts. All right, according to our design, the first thing that we need to do is make the contacts class. And I know this isn't necessarily the most readable thing in the world, but I'm going to keep a little clipping of it there. So we're going to make a new class called contact. And I'll just open that up and clear out all this stuff here. Don't need that. There we go. Got it. Now I can look at it while I do this. Okay. So public class contact. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a constructor. So what kind of variables do we need for our constructor to work? Well, we're going to have a name and a number. So we need to store that information. So I'll say private string contact name, private int contact number. And then I'll say public contact to make my constructor. I like that little space there. Contact. And we're going to take in a name. And we're going to take in a number. And I'll just simply set contact name to the name. And the contact number to the number. All right, next we'll do our methods. First, we have to get the name. Well, this doesn't require much effort on our part. We just simply return the contact name. Okay, next what we need to do is get the formatted number. Now, this one is going to be a little bit of work. So public, it's going to be a string, get formatted number. Or we could even just call this method get number, but I want it to be formatted, okay? Okay, so our number is going to be of this format. 1, 2, 3, it's going to, let me make a comment. It's going to have 3 digits, then a hyphen, and then 4 more. I know I missed the area code, but if we put in the area code, then we would have to store the number as a long, and I don't want to have a discussion about longs right now since they're not in the AP computer science subset. So we're just going to pretend that there's only 7 digits here, and maybe we store the area code somewhere else. Is a 7-digit number, and we're going to try and make it into a string, and we're going to try and add a hyphen in the middle of it. So to make it a string, I'm going to say string, I'll say in for a num, and I'm just going to say contact number plus quote quote. So changing a string into an integer is actually kind of tough, but changing an integer to a string is easy. You just add plus quote quote to the end of it, because when you combine a number, an int, and a string, which is my empty string, just quote quote, you automatically get a string. Now, what I need to do is I need to partition off num. So, and we'll talk about the methods in the string class a ton in this class. We'll have a whole series of lessons on it, but let's go ahead and, expose ourselves to it now. So I'm going to take num.substring. Now, substring, what it does is it just takes a portion of it, and I want the first 3 characters. So I say 0, 3. So that will take the first 3 characters, 0, 1, and 2, which are the first 3 indices of the string. And I'll say plus, and I want a space, and then a hyphen, quote, and then I'll take the last of it. And when you say 3 like that, and you don't put an ending number on it, what happens is it automatically starts at the index 3 and goes to the end. Now, index 3 is the 4th letter, right? So it would take that 4th number from num. And that's it. So now we've got a formatted string. And we had a couple other methods, I believe, that we had to do, right? We had to, I lost this somehow. We need to do set email. So let's do that. So we need another variable to set their email. So private string email. And then in the constructor, let's set right now, the email would be set to null. So let's set it to a string. How about just no email? All right. We also need to do an address. Private string address. And we'll just set their address to unknown. Or we could leave these as empty strings or blank, or we could leave them as null, the empty object. But so now I'm going to make it to where they can set it. So I didn't require them to set it in the constructor, but I'm going to give them the option to do it here. We'll say set address, and we'll take in an address, and we'll just set it to it. So address becomes add. Oh, I'm missing my return type. Void. All right, and then we'll do public void set email, and that's going to take in an email. I'll just call it M, and so that's what our email gets set to. And then we'll give access to that as well. We're going to say public string get email, which just simply returns the email, and public string get address, which simply returns the address. All right, we got a pretty effective class here. Let's check it out, though. We got to go to check early and often, right? Okay, so let's make a contact. For my contact, I need to have a name and a number. So I'm going to say Ron Burgundy. Is that? I don't know. Anyway, and his number is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, we're doing a 7-digit number. All right. So let's right-click on it and see what we have. First of all, I want you to, we've talked about this, I think, briefly. We do inherit some methods from object. That's because contact subclasses object if we don't subclass something else. All right, we can get the address, but it is unknown at the time, right? We can get their formatted phone number, and you see it added the hyphen. And we can get their name. We can set their email. Let's set the email to ron@news.net. Oh, it needs to be a string, though, so put it in quotes. And now I can get their email, and I have that available to me. Cool, huh? All right, now it's time to subclass. So let's go, let's take a second to look at that. So let's make our business contact. Our business contact is going to have all of these methods here, but we're going to add just a few more. So let me take a little snapshot of that so I have it available for us to look at. All right, and let's make a new class. Called business contact. And again, I'll just hit Control A to highlight all that and get rid of it. All right, so this is the stuff that I said we were going to do. So public class business contact. So how do I make it to where I am a subclass? The way I do that is with the keyword extends. And I'm extending contact. Every class extends the class object that's written from Java, and that's where we get like our equals and the weight and those other kind of strange commands. But we are going to directly subclass contact, which allows us to get all the methods that we have from contact: the get name, get phone number, set email, set address, all that. So do we need any additional information here to describe our contact? Well, we're going to write methods called, set company and set position. So let's make those variables. Private string company name. And I'll say private string position. And let's write our constructor. Public business contact takes in string name and an int number. Remember, we're requiring that we have a name and a number. Now, currently, this is not going to compile because we have a problem. It says constructor contact and class contact cannot be applied to the given types. It's required java.lang.string. Java.lang.string is the full name for the string class. And an int. Found, no arguments. So this is a confusing error because it feels like we're getting an error for code that we haven't written yet. And that's just kind of something Java does. Java does a lot of things behind the scenes for you, which is really convenient and nice, but it can cause some situations like this where they're a little confusing. We're getting an error for code that Java automatically creates for us before we've ever even done it. There's the contact constructor. We do not have a constructor that takes no parentheses. The first line of every constructor is this. Now this is not a problem because when you don't subclass, because the object class has a constructor that has no parameters. But now I'm extending contact. In some languages like Python, you have to explicitly call the superconstructor. Java does it automatically, and you can see now it's showing accurately where that error really is. The little red arrow squiggly is under the word super, and it's saying, no, you need to provide it this information. Well, that's exactly why we took in a name and a number. Okay. Just a quick note, while I'm taking in name and number to my constructor, I am not storing that value in this class, so I'm not going to have direct access to those variables. Instead, I'm going to have to use methods to access them from the contact class, such as getName and getNumber. All right, let's add our methods. So we have a method to set the company. And we have a method to set the position. And of course, we want to give access to those as well. So I will get the company. And I will get their position at that company. Okay, now I think we've got a pretty good working business contact. Let's compile it. Let's see how it works. All right, notice that BlueJ has added this arrow indicating that I'm subclassing. I'm going to make a new contact here, and this is going to be called Hank Hill, and his phone number is 321-4321. Okay, notice that I've still got that inherited from object. We don't use this a lot. We will learn how to use .equals and toString. But I've also got inherited from contact. I've got all those methods that I like to have, like getName. But now I have some additional methods that allow me to set the company. And I think we all know what company Hank Hill works for, Strickland Propane. And his position is assistant manager, or is he just manager? I don't know. I think he's the manager. He's not the owner, but he's the manager. So we can get his position, and we can get his company that he works for. So that's pretty cool, right? Okay. We got one more thing we got to do. We've got to make the friend contact now. So I'll make a new class, friend contact. And remember how we subclass? We say extends. So public class friend contact extends contact. Okay. We are going to get that error again because even though I haven't even written a constructor at all, if you don't write a constructor in Java, every class has to have one. So Java is automatically going to make this for me. If I don't make a constructor, Java will automatically do that, and then the only line of code is that. So all that code was already written, and you can see that that is, oh, I got to spell it correctly, that is why we have that problem. But we don't want that constructor because we want to take in a name and a number. And we'll call the superclass with that information. And that satisfies the requirement that we call the superclass with a string and an int. Now we are going to add just a set birthday method, right? So public void, we don't need to return anything when we set. We're going to set the birthday. We're going to take in a string month and an int day of the month, right? And I think we'll just say, well, we need some information here. So let's store private string b day month, b day mon, private and b day day, b day day. So b day mon gets month, and b day day gets day. And we'll say public string get birthday, and let's have a little bit of fun with this. We'll say we'll format it kind of nicely. Let's return a string that says b day of the month of b day mon. All right, there we go. Oh, I forgot a plus sign. Okay. Let's try one more test rounding here. I'm going to make a friend here, and that friend is going to be Woody, and his number is 222-33333. Because, Woody, you got a friend in me, get it? Okay, I got inherited all that stuff. Let's set their birthday, and I'm just going to say October 12th. And let's get the birthday. This birthday is the 12th of the month of October. So, cool. Well, today we studied subclassing, and that is such an important concept in computer science. We've got a lot more to talk about with subclassing, including overriding and abstract methods and such like that, but we're well on our way to understanding the power of object-oriented programming. Until next time, take care.